But what I find really interesting is we've got a couple of things hitting us that I want our viewers to really look out for. Number one, June and July, the Paycheck Protection Program is going to be kind of the first round of that's going to be ending. So that's one thing to look out for. July 15th, of course, we all have to file and pay taxes. That might be a little bit of a drain on some of the liquidity in the system. If you remember last September, when we had those tax payments due, that did cause some problems with liquidity in the overnight lending market for the Fed, right? And so we're going to look out for that. July 31st, of course, we've heard that the White House is not being flexible about the extra $600 a week that people are being paid is going to end. What's interesting is there's a lot of controversy around this because even the Fed has come out to say, if you're getting an extra $600 a week, you may not want to go back to work. But of course, that $600 a week has contributed largely to the consumer spending remaining constant during this pandemic, which has lessened the projections going forward about the economic decline. The other thing to look out for is that there are about approximately 5 million Americans that are not currently paying their mortgages and their rent. So that's going to come back. That figure is actually mainly mortgages, and that's going to come back as of October 31st. They're going to have to start paying those again, which means even if they can pay them, there will be a percentage that probably can't. But even if they can pay them, that's going to lessen the discretionary consumer spending that's going on elsewhere. So these are sort of the roadblocks ahead. I would say that the jobless claims numbers right now are showing really good signs. I think if we don't have a second wave, we will continue to see an improvement, although kind of bottoming out maybe around that 8% unemployment. And then, but if we do have a second wave, that could be quite devastating.
So then can we look at these numbers and conclude that they're an indication of anything in particular? Because there are all these other factors. We still know there was this crazy backlog where people were trying to apply for unemployment and couldn't get through. The Paycheck Protection Program, that certainly helps. I know some people were laid off, but then the business that they worked for got the money. So then they were kind of rehired. But now you say that could be running out. And if it's not re-upped, then are these people then going to find themselves unemployed again? It just seems like there's so many factors at play here. I don't know what these numbers even mean at this moment.
Exactly. There are a number of variables, and a couple that I've just given could play out, but also the states having backlogs. I looked into it a little bit, and New York probably has about 44,000-ish in backlog. So that's not going to make a meaningful difference to these millions and millions and millions of numbers. So that's good news. I think I saw that Oregon has about 25,000 in backlogs, and then the states have upgraded their system. So if we do have a second wave, many states have contracted with big tech companies to kind of upgrade the process. They're really not denying many of these claims, which is also good news. But to your point, which is so sentient, is the fact that I think the airlines are a great example, right? They got $25 billion in bailouts, but the whole thing was that they had to hang on to their employees. I think it was until the end of September. And they are already seeing that travel is still 80% down. And of course, we've discussed many times on this show, are people going to fly around for business meetings, or are they going to hit the Zoom? Because it's going to be more cost effective and in some ways more efficient. So they're planning for the future, and they're looking at buyouts for contracts. They're looking at early retirement for unionized employees, offering them between 20 and 26 weeks of severance, a year or two of medical coverage, and then also, a year of travel benefits to try and incentivize these guys to come off of the payroll on their own determinism, basically. And so you can see that they're planning for the future and that they expect travel to be down. And it's just kind of interesting to see how the trends have changed, because not very long ago, we had a shortage of pilots, and that was supposed to be one of the greatest careers. And now they're trying to kind of get these guys to retire early. So as we go forward, we're going to see different sectors hit, and travel's kind of taken an uptick in the markets lately because people think it's going to get a little bit better, but they're planning for a much longer slowdown than is indicated in the short term.